Alrighty, well, it is March 8th, okay, and St. Patty's Day. This is a brisket, not a corned beef, a brisket, all right? St. Patty's Day is right around the corner, March 17th. Now, this brisket needs to cure for 1 week in a brine consisting of a little Prague powder, some kosher salt. I don't know if that's in the frame. Yes, it is. And some distilled water. So I'm going to stick to the recipe this time. I'm going to use the exact measurements of 1 gallon of water, 8 ounces of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of Prague powder, because that's the solution. And then 8 pounds, this is an 8-pound brisket. 8 pounds of brisket is going to go in there. Now, what I intend to do is, I intend to probably cut the brisket about here and take this lumpy side with the less fat and make the corned beef out of it. And then this part, I'm going to then season it with pastrami rub, let it sit in the fridge for, I don't know, a few more days, and then I'm going to smoke it and make a pastrami out of it. But this part right here, from this side to here, is going to be my corned beef for St. Patty's Day, because it's just the two of us in the house anyhow. So let me get this unwrapped and start taking it apart. Alrighty, so here is the brisket. And as I said, it is March 8th in the evening, right? It's after work hours. And this is the brisket. And I want this to brine for a solid week. So I'm guessing on the 16th, I'll take it out of the brine. Maybe I'll take it out of the brine early on the 17th and just simmer this piece in some water with some cabbage and potatoes and make my corned beef. And then this piece from here to here, I'm going to put the pastrami rub on it and smoke it maybe a few days later. So that's it. I'll show you the other side of it. Right, you see how it's already trimmed. You know, this is where you get them in New Jersey. You know, this is not Texas. But for pastrami, I did this once before. This is a nice hunk of meat for pastrami and corned beef. So away we go. Okay, so I need 8 ounces of kosher salt. And I've got 2 so far. Let's keep going. Okay, good. I have a little bit more. That's okay. It's not going to kill me. Okay, and then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of this Prague powder. Let's get it into frame. Prague powder. Now, it's important that you use this particular Prague powder. It's got to be number 1. The other Prague powders that exist are not the same chemical composition. So, I will use 2 teaspoons of the Prague powder. And there you go. You see how it's pink? It's pink specifically so that you don't make a mistake and use it by accident. So now what I'm going to do is mix that with my gallon of water. And in this case, it's distilled water. Let's see if I can get that camera into there. All right. So it looks like I need to get a better mounting kit for my camera. Remember, I do all of these videos on the iPhone. So everything you see is done from a single iPhone. I don't have any special equipment. Okay, so here is the gallon of distilled water. Normally what I do when I make a brine is I'll bring it to a boil and then let it cool off. But for this brine, all I do is stir it up and dissolve that salt. That's it. Okay, here's my gallon. And then I'm going to add some pickling spice. Okay, so pickling spice, 1, 2, 3, dump it in. I'm going to get 1 more tablespoon of pickling spice into there. And then I'm going to stir it all up. Oh boy. I might have to stop the camera for this. Nope, we're good. One more. And the pickling spice I just bought, instead of making my own, it's got obviously allspice. Let's read it. Let's read it, shall we? It's got cinnamon, allspice, mustard seed, coriander seed, bay leaves, ginger, clove, red pepper, black pepper, cardamom, mace, and sulfiting agent. Interesting. Okay, well, that's that. Let me get that stirred up. Okay, so I have it in the bag. I have a double bag actually in this container, and I want to make sure that it's fully submerged. Probably what I'll do is every day I'll just rotate it to make sure that everything is fully submerged so that everything gets a good coating of the brine. And this is going to be in there for a week, right? So a week and a little bit. And it's going to be fantastic. Okay, so I've already cut the brisket. This is the remaining piece that's going to become pastrami. See how it's nice and red inside. And this sat in the brine for, 7 days. Okay? And what I'm going to do now is desalinate this piece of brisket. I'm going to let it soak in a gallon of distilled water for about 12 hours just to get some of the salt out of it. And then I'm going to rub it with pastrami rub. So let's see, does that water fit in there? Yeah. Nice, that's perfect. Okay. Actually, this container is perfect. If I had a 6-pound brisket, this container would fit it perfectly for the brine. So that's good news for next time. But anyhow, we'll let that sit for about 12 hours. I'll let some of that salt leach out. And then we're going to rub it with the pastrami rub, stick it in a bag, and let it sit for about 2 or 3 days. And then we're going to smoke it. Oh my God, it's so good. Okay, so what you see in front of you is the remainder of that brisket that I cut earlier. So this is the 6.5 pounds of the brisket. It's inside of a bag because my technique is to take this pastrami rub and get it all over both sides of it and then seal it up and get it into the fridge. So what I'm going to do is put a tablespoon right in the center, maybe 2, right? And then just spread it out. I don't want to get my fingers in there too much because then what happens is it winds up sticking to your hands. So let me get as much on it as possible just by doing this. And then I'm going to turn it over, do the other side. So this pastrami rub I got from the internet. It's basically mostly black pepper and coriander. Those are the 2 dominant ingredients. And then there's paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, brown sugar, mustard. And pretty much that's it. Okay, I'm going to flip it and get my rub onto this side. Okay. And then, since it's in the bag, I can then shake it up, like shake and bake. And you know what? I might need to make more rub. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. I'm going to shut the camera off for a second. Actually, I don't need to make more rub. As I turn the bag, whatever was loose just fell off. And now what I'm doing is I'm repositioning the rub so that I get it on all sides. As long as I get a good coating all over the brisket, I think we're going to be okay. Yep. So I'm going to put my hands in there and see if I can make it more even. But you see how it's very well coated on all sides. And that's what's important. And this rub is going to stay on here for 2 to 3 days. 3 days, maybe more. The meat's already cured, so that rub is really going to just penetrate into the meat, and then I'm going to smoke it. Alrighty, so you see what we've got here. I'm very excited about this. This is the pastrami. Well, it's not the pastrami yet, right? So this is the brisket that we cured and made a little corned beef out of it. And now, so then we put a pastrami rub on it. You see on both sides how nice it looks. And I'm going to put it in my pan this way and rinse those fingers off. And I'm going to put a meat probe in it, and we're going to smoke it until the internal temperature reaches 200 degrees. So I'm going to do it low and slow, as always. And we're going to have pastrami later today. And it's going to be awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this meat probe into the fattest part of the meat, right? Probably here. Okay, just like that. And we're going to stick it out on that smoker. I guess I want to talk a little bit more about this. So this is a brisket, fresh brisket that I purchased, and I cured it for a week. So what did I do? I bought it, I think, on the 9th. I put it in kosher salt and prog powder for a week. And then on the 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day, I cut a little piece off and I made some corned beef out of it. And then that night, I put the pastrami rub on it, which is what you see here. And that was on the 17th at night. Today is the 21st. So it's been 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 days in this pastrami cure. And now we're going to smoke it. And we're going to smoke it low and slow. Wow. Well, listen to me. We're going to smoke it slow and low. We're going to get the internal temperature of this meat to 203 degrees, I think. And we're going to smoke it at about 200, 225 degrees. So let me go get that grill started. Alrighty, so we're getting that fire started. Those are just the starters. As soon as that fire's lit, we're going to put some wood chips in there and get that pastrami going. Oh, it's going to be awesome. Okay, we're at 200. And that pastrami is starting now. So pastrami is gonna happen soon. It's 194. I gotta get it to like 200, maybe 202, 203. And you see I'm holding that temperature on the egg, and I've got the vent open that much. I'm guessing another hour. Okay, full disclosure. Look at that pastrami. Oh, okay, I'm going to take it off now. Well, there it is. And I'm going to let it rest for a few minutes. 10, 15, half hour. And then I'm going to start carving up some slices off of that baby. But that is the pastrami. And I got to tell you, it smells so good. Okay, so we are at my house, at home. But let's make believe that we are at Katz's. And he's slicing off a piece of that pastrami. And I gotta tell you, oh my God, that is so good. You have no idea. Wow. Get another slice off there. I don't know if we're going to have just pastrami on rye tonight or Reuben's. I don't know. Look at that. That is fabulous. Alrighty, so here's some pastrami with a nice arugula salad. And you see I'm building a little sandwich here. Yeah. Okay, so on day 2, after you've made some amazing pastrami, you've already smoked it. Well, how do you get it back on day 2? You steam it. So I've got a few nice slices here, and I'm going to throw it in the steam, and I'm going to put that lid on, let it steam a little bit, and that's going to bring it back to its beautiful texture from yesterday. And we're making pastrami Reubens today. Okay, we're going to use the exact same thing that we did with our corned beef Reubens, except this time we're using that lovely pastrami. So I'm going to spread a little bit of mustard out on some rye bread. I'm going to make 2 open face Reubens. Okay, let me go get that pastrami meat. Alrighty, so now we've got some lovely steamed pastrami. I'm going to take this last little piece, fit it in there. Fit it in there just like that. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go rinse those fingers and continue. All right, and in keeping with my motto of I don't want any single ingredient to overpower the dish, you see I'm only going to put a little bit of coleslaw, listen to me, sauerkraut. That's funny. I did have a piece of cabbage that I was going to turn into coleslaw and completely forgot about it. So maybe I'll do that later. See, not a lot of sauerkraut. And then we're going to hit it with a little bit of Thousand Island. A little bit. And then, oops, Swiss cheese. And into the oven they are going to go. All right, and fresh out of the oven, look at that lovely melted Swiss on there. And of course, we're going to serve it with a little bit of French fries. And ketchup on the side just for the fries. And there it is. Now the question is, what's better? Pastrami Reuben, corned beef Reuben. I gotta say, I haven't tasted this yet, but they're both made from the same exact piece of meat. So I'm suspecting they're gonna be pretty equal. I'm gonna say they're gonna be pretty equal, but I'll let you know.